you number of times. Economics, business economics or managerial economics is a very high scoring subject, very much conceptual and interesting. Number of curves are there. If you are not mathematically sound even, then still I am pretty confident of our teaching skills. I'll teach you in a way that each and everything shall be clear to you. I'm certainly sure about that. Because managerial economics topic I have taught a number of times, because almost every year one subject regarding economics was assigned to me while I was working as an assistant professor in the college. So I hope it shall be a very interesting session and very beautiful topics we are going to touch upon. Now just going to share the screen. I have already got the confirmation. In this lecture, we shall be talking about demand and types of demand, and after that demand law, and the most important concept which usually all the NET and JRF aspirants skip. And this is regarding difference between extension and increase, and contraction and decrease in demand. This is important topic. Number of students just leave that, and at the time of examination, if these kind of questions are asked, then they are completely out of their mind, and they cannot decide from which section this has been added. So very precise and very concise kind of lecture this is going to be. So what is a demand analysis? Okay, as exam is not going to ask you about its definition, but we are going to answer the first question regarding what is demand. I shall tell you what is demand. Okay, this is going to be the first topic of this lecture, and I shall tell you after that what is the law of demand. Okay, law of demand. And when we go through from this, then I shall tell you what are different kinds of demand. And finally, we shall start a very beautiful and very interesting and very conceptual topic. This is regarding extension of demand and contraction of demand. And finally, increase in demand and decrease in demand. Some students feel, or they just think that increase and extensions are both the synonym terms, but there is a huge difference between these two. Number of students are not able to comprehend what these actually means. So now just going to move further, definition is there. This is very easy to go through. Okay, demand is simply demand for any good that customers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a given period of time. Okay, so this is today evening you are attending my lectures. Okay, when I am offering you something and you are willing to purchase that, and you are also able to purchase that. Okay, when willingness has its sum with ableness, then that ultimately leads to demand of the product. Okay, so there are two terms involved in making a complete kind of demand. This is when you are willing, and along with your willingness you are able also, only then this is your demand. When you are willing but you are and that is not supported by your ability to purchase, this is just your need or a desire and nothing else. Okay, so demand is completed when you are willing as well as you are able as. So these are the things you have to understand regarding demand. So I think that was much more than sufficient. Just for clearing your concept, it was there. Although I believe that these are the very first chapters, and you people would be understanding what these means actually. Okay, it's nothing extra for us to understand about the meaning of that. Now I just move further. I shall tell you why we are going to study the demand, and these are only the answer of the questions which I have already asked you. So now we are going to see what is the law of demand and what does demand actually means to us. So this is x-axis, okay, and this is y-axis. And before starting that, I'm going to tell you one thing, and this is my beautiful phrase nowadays. Okay, what is this? Learn mathematics. Learn mathematics, and believe me, mathematics is beautiful. it tells you number of things. Even if I know that that cannot be area of your specialization at the time of your graduation, post graduation, or undergraduation, or at the time of a plus one plus two, you would not have gone through from mathematics. But I must tell you, go through now, go through from this now, learn basic mathematics, because this is a figure. How I got that idea, this is a figure. Okay, this is a figure, it can be extended this way as well, it can be extended this way as well, and this makes a complete graph. And graph has its origin like this, which is also known as its vertex, from where all the points are linked together. And this is known as x-axis. Okay, minus x, then y, then minus y. In this, a graph is made, and every time, if when you have seen that kind of picture anywhere, then you have to keep in your mind from nowadays that this is referring to a certain graph to which only two axes have been given, and these two are positive. This is x and this is y, and these two are positive. You are not given the negative axis. And if these are also given, that it ultimately makes a graph. Okay, which can have any kind of a coordinates. So these are just coordinates. This is one coordinate, this is second coordinate. Okay, so this is x-axis, this is y-axis. This always refers to quantity of our product, quantity of a product, and that product can be anything. And in this specific, this is the number of cars sold. Okay, number of cars sold, this is quantity of cars. And this special axis always refers to prices in context of our chapter demand. Okay, that you have to keep in your mind. Just make this diagram again and again. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. This always refers to price, and this always refers to quantity. Quantity of what? Quantity of goods which you are willing to and able to purchase at a specific price. Okay, so it's just saying you that this is the original price. When the original price is here, then you purchase these many units. Okay, when original price is there, you purchase these many units. And when original price, when the next price is lowered, or it decreases. So this was price of actual price. When price one comes here, that means if this decreases, then ultimately the demand shall increase. Okay, the demand shall increase for the quantity, because now you are left with more money, and if you have more money, then you can purchase more items. So this is all about the law of demand, which tells you that when the prices of any product decreases, then you can purchase more and you can demand more. So this is all about that. Okay, so we see what is that. Law of demand states the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. I have already given you very fine example here. These are prices. Okay, and this is your the quantity of goods to be purchased. This is the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. What does inverse word means? Inverse word means when prices are in plus means these are increasing, then quantity demanded shall be in minus, that shall decrease. Okay, so this is inverse. This is known as inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. I'm just going to make it like price. I'm just putting 5 prices here. This is rupee 1, rupee 2, rupee 3, rupee 4, rupee 5, and I'm writing some quantities here. Okay, so first I am writing here quantity 2, quantity 4, quantity 6, quantity 8, quantity 10. Okay, these can be quantity of apples. Okay, hypothetically we are taking this example, and this is prices in rupees. Okay, when the apple, when the prices are 3, then you are purchasing 6 units. Okay, you are purchasing 6 units. Okay, if the price is decreased to 2, then you are left with 1 rupee more. So that's why you are purchasing more. Your purchase is increased to 8 units. When prices increases to 4, then what you do, you are not left with much money. You have to decrease your consumption. In that way, you can purchase only 4 units. But again, in case if the price is decreased to 1 rupee, then you are left with much more money, and you can purchase more quantity of that specific item. Then again, if the prices rise to 5 rupee, then you are not left with much money, and you have to purchase very smaller amount, and you can consume only lesser and lesser units of because you are not left with any kind of money. So this is known as the relationship between price and quantity demanded, which are having the inverse kind of relationship. And the line or curve which you find by joining all these intersections, all these coordinates, these are known as coordinates as well. Okay, when you just combine these coordinates and you make a line, and this line will be known as a demand line or a demand curve, that is usually represented as dd. Okay, so this is all about law of demand. So here I think this is the same example which I have given you. Okay, the only difference is at the x-axis I took 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, but they are taking only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's just referring that when the prices is rupee 1, then you can purchase 5 units. When this is 2, then you can purchase 4 units. When this is 3, then you can purchase 3 units. When this is 4, you can purchase only 2 units. When the price is 5, you can purchase only 1 unit. Why this happens? Okay, why this happens? What's the reason behind that? When you are having 3 rupees with you and you can purchase 3 units, okay, this is a very simple logic, and even a layman can understand that. Okay, so if the prices decrease to rupee 1, then it's very obvious then that you have saved rupee 2, and you can utilize these 2 rupees to purchase more units. So only this is the reason why there is the inverse relationship between prices and quantity demanded. If prices are increasing or in plus, then demand or the quantity demanded shall be in a negative. That is very simple and obvious to understand. All already exceptions are there, and exceptions are everywhere for anything. Exceptions are there for demand as well, like giffen goods are there. Okay, but what we have to understand, we have to understand the law of demand right now only, and this is our only purpose, and that is all about this what is being shown in this specific slide. It is just saying you that when prices are in increasing mode, then the quantity demanding shall be decreasing. When the prices are in a decreasing mode, then the quantity demanded shall be increasing. The only reason being, when prices are lowered, you are left with much money. But when the prices are higher, then you have no scope, because you are not left with much money, because you have already spent all of your money in the basic unit. So you are not able to purchase the more units. Rather, you have to decrease your consumption. So that was regarding law of demand. Demand curve, I have already told you, this is called your demand curve. Okay, that is demand curve, and that can be obtained for in 2 ways. Okay, that these can be bifurcated into 2 ways. The first can be individual demand curve, and second can be the market demand curve. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what is the difference between these two. Okay, so when we are talking about a single product, okay, single product, like that can be anything. That can be apples only, that can be oranges only, that can be grapes only, that can be bananas only. Okay, when we are trying to find the demand curve of a single product and single buyer, okay, single buyer is purchasing single product, so that kind of a demand curve if you are drawing, that is known as the individual demand curve, that you can see here completely. But when we are making a number of demand curves for different products representing the entire market, that kind of demand curve as shown here will be known as the market demand curve. So they can be represented individually and in combination as well. So this is known as a demand curve. That is the simple procedure to find. All you have to do is to follow that specific rule. I have already told you, okay, when the prices are higher, you can consume less. When prices are lower, you can consume more. Okay, so inverse relationship is there between these two. So I think you would have understood by now what is the meaning of demand, what is the law of demand, and how you can find the demand curve. Now there are different types of demand. I have already explained that we shall be going through 3 or 4 questions in this specific lecture. First, we understood about the demand. Secondly, law of demand. Then I told you about demand curve. And now this is the, I think this is the 4th topic of today's lecture, and that is going to be what are different types of demand. Okay. The first type or first kind of demand is price demand. When the demand is dependent upon a price, this is known as price demand. Okay. Price demand we have already understood while understanding the demand law of demand. Okay. So when the demand is dependent upon a price only, okay, price only, and other things being constant, okay, so that kind of demand is known as price demand. Like same example, purchasing of apples, this is prices, and this is the quantity demanded. When the prices are lowered, you can consume much. When these are higher, then you can consume low. When the demand is dependent only on one factor, and this factor is price of the product, then this is known as price demand. The second, this is the demand, income demand. When the demand depends upon your income only and another factor, you are not considering the price. You are not considering the price of other product. You are just considering about your income. Okay, so when your income is increasing, okay, when your income, so this is 10 rupees you have earned, okay, you have earned 10 rupees, you can purchase only 1 unit. When your income is 20 units, you can purchase more units. This is very simple to understand. When your income is 30 rupees, you can earn more, even more units, and this curves goes like that. Okay, this is income demand. Income demand tells you when demand depends upon your income only. This is called income demand. Okay, so this is all about that, and we are not to be very worried about this, because in the upcoming lectures, when we shall be going through from elasticity of demand, then we shall consider the income demand in much more detail. Okay, so for now, for you, income demand is the demand at which income is the only considerable factor. When you consider income only and other things being constant, and when your demand depends upon income only, then this is known as your income demand. Then there is cross demand. Cross demand is very simple to understand. A number of authors and almost all the authors in India have given a very simple example of a tea and coffee. These are substitute of each other. Okay, substitute of each other. When the prices of tea increases, then you shift your preference to coffee. But when the prices of coffee are increased, then you shift your preference to tea. This is known as cross demand. So this tells you when your demand depends upon the price of the substitute. This is known as cross demand. Okay, when this depends upon the price of substitute. Okay, so this is, if we are making a graph again. Okay, so here are the prices of tea. Okay, and this is the quantity of coffee. Okay, prices of tea. When the prices of tea are increasing, then what shall you do? You shall shift your preference to coffee. You shall increase the consumption of coffee, and its curve will be same like this as the income demand curve was there. So what I have taught you in cross demand, this is only the one concept, that when your demand depends upon only the price of a substitute or a related product, then this is known as cross demand. Okay, so I hope you would have understood difference between these two. Just their name suggests, when demand is dependent upon a price, this is price demand. When demand is dependent upon income, this is income demand. when demand depends upon the price of cross product or substitute or related products price, then this is known as cross demand. Now, direct demand is the demand for the products which you are going to consume directly. Okay, you are going to consume directly, like you are purchasing the bread. Okay, you are purchasing the uh, uh, we can say you are purchasing the biscuits for your family. Okay, so these kind of things you are purchasing for your own consumption. When something is purchased for your own consumption, that kind of demand is known as direct demand. You are not going to make any kind of a further product from these two. Okay, so you are not going to use these for anything else. If you are purchasing the wheat, wheat, your only reason to purchase wheat is the consumption. Okay, you are going to consume yourself, or your family is going to consume that kind of demand at which the you are going to consume the product yourself. That kind of demand is known as a direct demand. And what is it? Derived and indirect demand. This is the demand which for which you are not going to consume the product yourself. Okay, but you are purchasing this for making some other products, and so that these products can be sold. These products can be sold. Okay, so this is known as indirect demand, and this is not demanded by you and me like people. Okay, this is demanded by producers only. By producers only, this is known as a derived and indirect demand. Because if anybody wants to make a car, okay, the car company is going to manufacture a new car, then they have to purchase its parts or components. They have to purchase their parts or components. Okay, purchasing components for making the car is known as derived or indirect demand, because you are demanding components or tools. Okay, tools, you are demanding the machines, tools, components. For what? For making some other product, and that product is going to be car. So when you are purchasing, or you are going to purchase a product by which you are going to manufacture some other product for the reason that that you shall sell it in the market in future, that kind of demand is known as a derived or indirect demand. Okay, so then there is joint demand. Okay, joint demand is very simple demand. When you have demanded one product, but along with that you have to demand some other products as well. Okay, you have purchased a car. Okay, then this is very obvious, then you will demand petrol as well. Okay, if you don't own the car, you will never need the petrol to be purchased. This is very simple to understand. Okay, so when you are purchasing a pen, this is very simple, that you have to purchase the ink as well. Okay, otherwise it shall not work. So this is known as a joint demand. That means when you are purchasing something, along with that you have to purchase something else as well, so that the first thing can work properly. This is known as joint demand. Then there is a composite demand. When you are going to purchase something, so that you can use it for different purposes, that is known as composite demand. Okay, so when you are demanding milk, okay, you are demanding milk for different uses, like from milk you can make tea as well. Then you can make curd as well. You can make cheese as well, and number of different things in the list. Okay, when you are demanding something for the reason that you are going to use this for different purposes, that kind of demand is known as composite demand. So one by one I have explained you each and everything. I think that kind of detail would be much more than sufficient for you. You people are sane enough that one or two reading would suffice. Otherwise I think I have already explained you everything necessary for understanding these kind of things. So there were in total 7 kind of different demands for which we have understood the concept. So this was the 4th topic of today's lecture. First I taught you regarding demand, then I told you regarding the law of demand, then we understood about demand curve. What is that? This is simply when you just just joining the different coordinates and of x and y series. And after that we have understood regarding different types of demands. And now this is going to be the next and last topic, and that is going to be related to extension or increase in demand, and contraction or decrease in demand. Okay, so this is change in quantity demanded and change in demand. When we are talking about change in quantity demanded, then we are talking about extension or contraction. But when we are talking about change in demand, then we are talking about increase in demand or decrease in demand. So this is the all you have to understand. I am going to explain the difference between these as well. Okay, I shall tell you what is extension in demand and what is increase in demand. Then I shall tell you what is contraction in demand, what is decrease in demand. In no way extension equals to increment. In no way contraction amounts to decrement. Okay, so just going to tell you what these two things are. Okay, so change in quantity demanded, first of all we have to understand. Okay, so change in quantity demanded, how does it occur? It occurs when there is a change in price. Okay, so when there is change in price, then it leads to movement along the demand curve. Demand curve you have already understood from me. Okay, so this is your demand curve. When there is a movement along with this demand curve, okay, along with this demand curve, then this is known as change in quantity demanded. Okay, and why this happens? This happens only due to one factor. This is change in price. Okay, so the movement can be in two ways. It can be a downward movement as well, it can be an upward movement as well. When this is a downward movement, this is known as extension in demand. When this is upward movement, this is known as contraction in demand. Now I'm going to explain in detail somewhat. So there are only two ways to happen. First is expansion in demand, the second one is contraction in demand. Understand it completely. Okay, expansion in demand refers to rise in quantity demanded due to fall in price of the commodity. Okay, so what we talked about, rise in quantity demanded. So there is quantity when it rises. Why? Because prices have fallen down. So this is price has come, price has decreased. So this is the reason why we call it expansion in demand, and this is refer as this. Okay, see this example. When prices were 20, you used to purchase 100 units, but when the prices decreased to 15, then you purchased 150 units. Okay, so when that was 20, so when that was 20, you purchased 100. When it went to 15, then you purchased 150. And so the movement had been like this. Okay, so purchase has increased like this. Okay, so this is known as expansion in demand. Why this happens? This happens just due to the movement of a price. If the price increases, then that will be expansion in demand or extension in demand, whatever you can say. Then there is a contraction in demand. When there is a fall in quantity demanded. Okay, when quantity demanded falls due to rise in price, because the prices rises, that is known as contraction in quantity demanded or decrease in quantity demanded. Again, the figure is here. When the prices were at 20, you used to purchase 100 units. Okay, but when it moved up to 25, then you purchased only 70. Okay, so that was the decrease in your quantity demanded. And this refers to the arrow like an upward movement. So this is why upward movement? Because it went from this point to this point. So from this point to this point, if we are making, and along with the demand curve, if we are making, it will be like this. This is why it is known as contraction in demand. So when there are increment in prices, and due to this increment, you have to lower your demand. This is known as contraction in demand. So I hope you would have understood about expansion and contraction in detail. Now we are going to talk about increase and decrease in your demand. Okay, so what we have for understanding these, you have to keep in your mind expansion and contraction as well. Okay, so first we shall be talking about increase in demand, and we shall see what is the difference between expansion and increase. Okay, so this refers to the movement of demand curve to the right or left. Okay, so this is the first difference. Movement of demand curve. Okay, movement of demand. What was in expansion? In expansion, there was movement along with the demand curve. Along with the demand curve. Okay, so from this figure, you shall understand this completely. Okay, so when here, in case of increase in demand or decrease in demand, one thing always remains constant. Either this is your quantity or your price. Okay. So this is the only and major difference between expansion and price increase in demand. So in expansion, what we learned, when prices are decreasing, then your quantity increases. Okay, so both are moving, but in case of increase in demand, at least one remains constant, and that can be either price or quantity. Okay, so now how it shall happen? See this. This is same price. Okay, when the price is 3, you are purchasing 3. When prices are 3 but you are purchasing 4, maybe for some other reasons you are purchasing 4 with the same prices. Okay, so when that was 3, you were purchasing that much, you were purchasing 3 units. But along, if these are 3, but now you are purchasing 4 units, so this is the increase in demand, and it shifts the demand curve upward. Okay, so this is the movement of a demand curve from right to left. Okay, so in this way you can you can understand this. And if we are taking the next example, in the next example we can take the quantity as a constant. So see here, more prices, same purchases. Okay, more prices, so only price is moving. When this is 3, you are purchasing 3. So this is 3, you are purchasing 3. But now this is 4, you are still purchasing 3. The price has risen to 4. Okay, you are still purchasing 3. Okay, so this is also known as increase in demand. Okay, so in this way you can understand. So what is the basic difference? This is only that in expansion, both the things like quantity and prices, both the things moves. But in case of increase in demand, one remains constant, and that can be either price or quantity. I have given you both the examples. Same is the case of decrease in demand. Decrease and contract in demand are different. In decrease, at least one remains constant, either price or quantity. Okay, so if same prices are there, but you are purchasing less now. Okay, with the price of 3, you used to purchase 3 units. With the price of 3, you used to purchase 3 units. Okay, but now price is same, but you are consuming less now. Price is same, but you are consuming 2 units now. So this is movement downward movement, and this is known as a decrease in demand. And in the same way, you can take next example when there is same purchase with less price. Okay, so when prices are 3, you were purchasing 3, but now the price is 2, you are still purchasing 3. Okay, first purchase was here, second is here, so this is a decrease in demand. Okay, so that was the concept of increase and decrease in demand. The only difference is that in extension or contraction, there is the movement of for both the things like quantity and prices. But in case of increase or decrease, there is the movement of only one thing and the other remains constant. Okay, so in this way you can understand that. You can watch this video for number of times as per your convenience, and you can just clear your concepts further. So in this lecture, I think it should be all about that. I have given you complete information regarding demand, what you should learn from demand chapter, law of demand. There are a number of things as well, and I must tell you, probability is only even lesser than 50% that the question shall be asked from this part. but each and everything from this specific subject is to be necessary to go through. The only reason is everything is interrelated. This is very conceptual. If you understand demand, only then you can understand elasticity of demand. If you understand elasticity of demand, only then you shall be able to learn the utility and revenue functions. So these kind of things you have to understand. I hope you would have enjoyed that. You would have understood everything I wish to taught you in specific lecture. Next lecture is going to be taken at 7 past 20 p.m. and that is going to be regarding elasticity of demand. That is tomorrow's lecture, but we are going to conduct this right now today. So we shall meet you right after 20 minutes. You have to attend exactly at 7 past 20 p.m. I may be late for 1 or 2 minutes. That these can be for other reasons. Thank you so much for joining me. We meet soon.